But it is the court that will rule. And whatever the court rule, there's not going to be anarchy. The law is the law. If it rules for or against, the law will reign supreme.
Bola Ahmed Tinubu remaining in power is at stake. Remember, Bola Ahmed Tinubu case is still in tribunal. Now, I believe there is a good news for the obedience and that of the articulation. Bola Ahmed Tinubu recently, after the gbas in the court, came out because he knows that him remaining in office is at stake. He decided to threaten the tribunal that removing me from office will cause nothing else but anarchy and chaos. These things also trigger a lot of Nigerians. Before then, let's watch this particular video from Arise News on how they reported the whole issues and that of our favorite TV anchor presenter, El-Rufai reactions towards the whole issues. All right, we'll be right back to do some messages.
Let's begin what's trending. With reactions trailing the submission by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu requesting the Election Tribunal to dismiss the petition seeking to nullify his election on the grounds that he did not secure 25% of lawful votes cast in the Federal Capital Territory. The president, in his final written address against the two petitions filed by the candidates of the Labour Party, Peter Obi, and his counterpart of the People's Democratic Party, Atiku Abubakar, warned that nullifying the February 25th elections on the grounds that he did not secure 25% of the lawful votes cast in the Federal Capital Territory could lead to absurdity, chaos, anarchy, and alteration of the very intention of the legislature. Tinubu also stated that the two petitions seeking the nullification of his victory are not familiar with the country's electoral laws. Rufai, I'm coming to you, but let me take Carlos' tweet because this is actually the bone of contention because as you recall, our sister publication This Day put out a tweet, with that statement, and it's garnered more than 2.5 million comments. Well, Carlo wrote, the president of the largest economy in Africa is telling foreign investors that if the courts in a legal ruling in his own nation remove him from office because he failed to meet the conditions set by his nation to become president, there will be anarchy and chaos. In essence, if he is allowed to break the law and remain in office in contravention of the legal rules of his nation against the oath of office he took, there will be no chaos and anarchy. Over to you, Rufai. I'll take. People became lawyers on Twitter yesterday, giving their own different interpretation. Dr. Bati, I heard your interpretation this morning. Rufai.
For me, it is the court, the Presidential Election Tribunal, that will rule on the interpretation of the 25%.
Yes.
Whatever they come out with, for or against, I don't think interpretation of the laws of the country will cause any anarchy.
Absolutely not.
Fanning the embers and everything. I know that statement was from the depositions of his lawyer, President Tinubu's lawyer, Wole Olanipekun, because they are having their final depositions in before they make a judgment on it. It is for him to make his case. You can say he was making his case while he was arguing, but it is the court that will rule. And whatever the court rule, there's not going to be anarchy. I've heard a lot of people argue and said, oh, yes, the court of public opinion and all of that, it reads the poignant temperature of the nation. The law is the law. If it rules for or against, the law will reign supreme. And it's not happened before, blah, 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 blah. Those are just conversations. Because it is still the courts that will rule. All we can call on the judiciary to do is to stand tall. Across board. Yes, opinions are divided for and against and all of that. But we need to be able to build a country where the rule of law will stand tall. Because we don't do it for ourselves. We also do it for the way other countries see us. And when they see we have a weak judiciary system, what happens is that investors will not want to come. So the judiciary should also know that they are not only ruling based on the law now, they are also ruling based on what will become the outlook of Nigeria. So they will be the one to determine this 25%. We've never had a time where we've tested it. People can only make other inferences, like, they've cited a part of the constitution that says, treat it as long as though it's this, it's that, and all of that. You can have all the legal jargons. But it is when the court rules, conjunctively or disjunctively, you can look at the narrative. All we should now do is not to heat up the polity, Let us wait for the court to rule. And let's also forget, after the court rules, there's also a Supreme Court there.
Yes, absolutely.
After this judgment, let us remember the fact that Nigeria will continue to exist. And Nigeria will continue to grow. But the question is, how do we see ourselves after things like this? That's what matters the most.
Yes.
And in building a country, it is a collective work.
All right, Dr. Bata, I'd like your interpretation again in terms of what Tinubu's counsel wrote in that final submission. I understand that, anarchy can be interpreted in different ways, but I'll just take one more tweet of people that were trying to clarify Tinubu's win. This is from Pastor Okezie, who wrote, Tinubu got 25% in 29 out of the 36 states and FCT. Atiku got 25% in 21 out of the 36 states and FCT. Peter Obi got 25% in 17 out of the 36 states and FCT. Nigeria has 37 subnational entities, 36 states and FCT. Only President Bola Ahmed Tinubu met this constitutional requirement, 24 out of 36 states and FCT, and having the highest number of votes cast. He was declared winner and returned elected by the constitutional body, aka INEC. What is difficult to understand here, Dr. Abati?
Okay, a number of clarifications. I think people must refrain from reading headlines and from headlines jumping into conclusions. It misleads a lot of people because you see a headline in the newspaper, you see chaos, you see anarchy, you just conclude and you start talking. Courts of law don't take their decisions on the basis of public opinion.
You're right.
Even if the judges themselves are members of citizens. They act on the basis of jurisdiction and the rule of law. And at the highest level, the Supreme Court has its own original jurisdiction. And the courts exist also as modulators, as stabilizing forces, even as they discharge their functions under the Constitution. I tried to give a summary earlier on. It said, for example, Section 1342B, cannot be read disjunctively, that it must be read conjunctively. Because to do otherwise is to misinterpret and misrepresent the intention of the framers of the Constitution. A basic principle is, what is the intention of the lawmaker, the framers of the law? What do they intend to say? It's for the court to decide on that. And Olane Kwekun said, provided his own defense, citing Section 3.1, which lists 36 states, Section 299, which recognizes the Federal Capital Territory as if it is a 37th state, and also Section 66 of the Electoral Act. And he said, a community reading, that is what it is called, a community reading of all these provisions will prove the point that you cannot say because somebody lost didn't get 25% in FCT, then it cannot be president. And he provided precedents. The law, precedents, stare decisis is called. It's a major issue in law. Awolowo versus Shagari, Buhari's case, Ibrahim Adesanya versus, he gave all of that. Number two, he said the case of the petitioners is based on IREV and BVAS, electronic transmission. He said no, that can't stand because in any case the law, provides for manual transmission. And that you cannot say because of electronic transmission is an issue. Number three, he says the case that they are referring to in the US, that the evidence that is provided is inadmissible because it's not, documented within our own jurisdiction here. And that in any case, nowhere in that ruling is the word fine used. So he took on all of these issues, and then concluded that the application, the petitions amount to a crass abuse of court process, and that it should be dismissed, it should be disregarded, and that in any case he is confident that the job of the court, right, is to ensure peace, not to cause chaos, not to cause anarchy, and that given precedents that he has cited and all of that, it will amount to causing chaos and anarchy. But people have taken that in a literal sense.
Yeah, so he
basically
said,
a threat.
Right.
But it's not a threat.
Right.
So people should go to the written address and read it and understand the context instead of just saying, oh, Tinubu wants to cause chaos, he wants to cause anarchy.
So basically,
that's not what
the
is
job of the judiciary is not to cause anarchy, correct? That's really the bottom line.
Yeah, not to add more tension to the environment. And Olanikwekwe said, you need to see the context in which you use that phrase. And I don't agree with those people who think that it's a threat. A council, before the court of law cannot go in front of their lordships and threaten them. That is unacceptable.
Now, I want you guys to share your opinion with me. What do you guys think about these issues? Do you agree that, okay, Bola Ahmed Tinubu shouldn't be removed from office because it did not meet up to 25%? Do you also agree that, okay, Bola Ahmed Tinubu is already doing well? Let's just leave it till the next 4 years. Remember, there was a petition against Bola Ahmed Tinubu in the International Criminal Court. The obedience and that of articulation demanded from the American FBI that they should give them some certain information about his criminal record in the country to fight against Bola Ahmed Tinubu. The FBI rejected and said that they should wait till 2026. I really don't know why the FBI is holding up to this information, but for me, I believe that Bola Ahmed Tinubu must have signed some certain document with the American and said, okay, hey, we'll be helping you guys in certain areas, supplying you oil, but don't release this evidence that will remove me from office. I don't know, I'm just guessing. I don't know why the FBI will reject us or refuse to give this kind of information out that will remove a certain president who is not worthy to become president of a country. All right, guys, this is what's going to be ending the video today. Tell us your thoughts in the comment sections, and did you agree to what El-Rufai said? And if Bola Ahmed Tinubu is removed from office, did you believe there will be anarchy? If not, should there be a chaos in the first place? If not, why not? I want to hear from you in the comment section. If you are watching this video for the very first time, I would just want to say a big thank you for joining the Plan B TV team. Please subscribe, turn on your notification bell so you'll be among the first person to be notified anytime we upload a new video. For all our host subscribers who time to time come to support our videos anytime we upload a new video, God bless you. God continue to strengthen you and grant you all you have desire. Anyway, I wouldn't want to say much. I love you. Remember, God loves you more. Until we meet again, peace.
Don't forget to subscribe to get notified. And as you they share your support, now say God bless you too.
Sense on the bed.
Plan B TV, Plan B TV, Plan B TV. Oh, Plan B TV, Plan B TV, Plan B TV, Plan B TV.